Good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Chris Myers here from the Second AZOS. And the purpose of this video is to discuss with you briefly on how we're going to be utilizing the three different programs that you've been hearing about over my email traffic and how we're going to use this to create the performance programs for you. And so what you've seen over the recent weeks is the push out of the smartest science force plates. On top of that, I've introduced the Volt application, and this is the application to where I'm providing your workouts. And the last one was the Smarta Base. And over recent weeks, we've worked on how to connect your Garmin accounts to the Smarta Base, and also how we're feeding the other programs into this to create records and show you your performance metrics all in one singular place. And so let's start with the smartest science force plates. So with these force plates, I've been having you do three different exercises or tests. The first is the blindfold balance. The second is the blindfold plank balance. And then finally, the vertical jump test. And so with these, I'm looking at a couple of different things. With the plank and the balance test, I'm looking more for symmetry. I'm looking at the ability of, is there any major differences between the left and right? And so for this example, with this individual, you can see that there's an imbalance between the left and right foot while they're doing the blindfold test, blindfold balance test. And so within this means we have to do some investigation on why there's a difference between the two sides. The plank, perfectly balanced, no issues. But I want to spend a little more time here on the vertical jump, because this is where we're spending a lot of our time and investment with the training programs. And so with the vertical jump, we can measure three different forces. The first is the load. And this is the ability of you to be able to flex at the hips, knees, and ankles, and the muscles associated with that. So that we're talking about the quadriceps, the calves, the hamstrings, and the other part of the posterior chain. The explode, which is the ability to be able to translate that counter movement upward. So you're getting ready to push off the force plate. And a lot of this is your core, your abdominals, your paraspinal muscles, your obliques, stuff like that. And then finally is the drive. This is that extension of the hips, knees, and ankles at that point where you're finally pushing off the plate and getting vertical air on your vertical jump test. And so with these three variables, we're able to measure the any differences or weaknesses in the associated muscle groups. And we're able to identify what we call signature patterns. And so, and these are key differences between these three variables of load, explode, and drive. And based off the 4 or 5 different signature characteristics, I'm building the plans in Volt to address these limiters that we're seeing in here. And the idea with these plans is not necessarily to negate any of the bigger or overexposed variables, but to kind of bring them more into line or more into a balance. And the one signature pattern that I'm seeing with the majority of the TAC-Ps with all this testing is what we call a low load, low explode with an abnormally high drive. So the variables of load and explode are very low compared to the drive. And this means what we're seeing is an abnormally developed posterior chain. And that makes sense, because if you look at the work that you do, you do a lot of hiking, you do a lot of rucking, you have to push heavy loads. And so that means in order to be able to generate those forces, you have to have a very well-developed posterior chain. And for those who may not know, when we talk about posterior chain, we're talking about the gluteal muscles, the hamstrings, and the calves. So the muscles on the back part of the legs, and even some of the lower lumbar region of the back as well. And so the idea is not to reduce that development of those muscle groups, because you need that to be successful in your job, but it's to kind of bring everything else back into balance. And that is going to be the purpose of the workouts that are prescribed for you in the Volt app. And so in Volt, what you're seeing here is kind of the backside. This is my view of your programs, and this is how I build stuff. So with each particular unit, I'm set as the coach for each unit in here. So you see that I'm in charge of seven different units in here. And within there are specific programs that I build out for you while you're in station and also while you're deployed as well. And so let's walk through one of these. And so I'm going to show you the low load and explode specific program, which is that signature pattern I just detailed for you here in Sparta Science. And so what you have traditionally right now for the first few months is we're going to do what's called a balanced load, balanced build. And so what that means is throughout the week, you're going to have two strength sessions and two endurance sessions. Typically, almost every unit is, except for the Italy detachment, you're going to do your strength days on Mondays and Thursdays, and your endurance days on Tuesdays and Fridays, with Wednesdays being an active recovery day. With the Italy detachment, it's going to be flip-flopped. And so what you're going to see here is I've completely developed this program by hand to address those muscular imbalances identified within the Sparta Science force plate signature patterns. Additionally, I'll be tailoring in tier 2 OFT requirements over the next few months as well. So all that is going to be combined in this program. Typically, what you'll find with the Volt app for each day is you're going to be prescribed 4 or 5 different exercise groups. And to walk with each one of these, group 1 will always be your warm-up exercises. So as you can see through here, for example, for day 1 of this particular workout day, we're focusing on whole body and core work as the warm-up. And that's the same here for the endurance day here on day 2, where we're doing a whole body with a little bit of mobilization warm-up. And these are all focused to the work that you're going to be doing that day. Here on the strength day, back here on day 1, you'll see that you'll have groups 2 and 3, and these are set as compounded groups. So you're doing 2 exercises back to back for a push-pull sequence. And so I'm playing on these different variables to help focus on the key terms, the key limiters identified in our testing. Now let's move forward here on to day 3. The day 3, which will fall on Wednesday, is our active recovery day. Some of the units will be doing group yoga sessions, while others are going to be doing active recovery. And so if you're going to be if you're not doing the yoga pattern, the yoga classes, I've provided to you an active recovery session to help focus on the muscles that you've worked on up to this point. You'll almost always start off with a breathing exercise to help guide you into it, nice and relaxed. And they'll move into a 30 to 40 minute whole body stretching session, working on the muscles that you've worked on days 1 and 2, and also help with mobility. And then you'll end with another breathing session to help calm you down and get you ready for the day. So with this, I'm taking a little bit of a Pilates approach to it. And we can change this up at any point based on your suggestions and comments. And finally, days 4 and 5, again, we're moving back into our strength and our endurance days. Again, with groups 1 for both days being the warm up, and then on the strength day, groups 2 through 5, depending on what's been prescribed, as the focus of the strength day. And so that's the general layout right now of how the exercises are going to be structured within the Volt app. As we move along in the summer months and we get into more of a specificity for the OFT, I will make these changes and I'll communicate those to you as well within the app and also through weekly videos. And finally, let's move into the Smartabase. So the Smartabase is our records keeping app that we're going to be utilizing to push all of your human performance data into. And the idea of this program is for you to be able to take your records with you from your particular unit now to the next unit you go to whenever you PCS. This is supposed to be designed as a cradle to grave type of records keeping platform. And so within this, I've also created readiness dashboards. And so pardon me, accidentally clicked the wrong thing. So within here, you'll be able to see your own individual dashboard. And if you're a team leader or part of a command structure, you'll be able to see the readiness numbers for each of your operators underneath you. And so what I'm showing you is this is the beta version of the dashboard. And within this dashboard, you'll be able to see, your readiness stats, your resting heart rate, how much work have you been doing this week? How much tonnage have you been pushing? How much have you been running? Compliance to logged workouts, X, Y, and Z. We're capturing everything. Also, we're capturing injury stats. I will talk to you later on how to input this data via the specific event forms in Smartabase itself. Also, physical screening, testing, you name it, we're looking at it. And so this is designed to kind of take all your data and put it into one screenshot so you can see how well you're progressing, and if you need some recovery time and stuff like that. So over the next couple of introductory videos, I'll walk you through on how to utilize all this and explain how it's better going to help you with your training and such. Right now, this was just a brief overview on how we're going to be utilizing these three programs together to build an individualized training program for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.